Ooh, what a perfect test subject.
Hey, welcome back to the channel. So in this episode, we're going to talk about Kara, a flow poison esper. And she is gonna be your favorite poison esper before any of
There's a
you
fine
get
line
healed
between
up.
genius
And
and
there's a reason for that,
insanity.
because nowadays, we have so many legendary esper that getting healed up for a newer player is gonna be depends on luck and also
There's a
gonna be
fine
really hard.
line between
So
genius
there are
and
contents that
insanity.
requires you to use poison, which is Andras in Ritual Miracle, and also in terms of PvE content, the stronger your enemy
There's
is,
a
the
fine line
stronger your
between
poison
genius
damage gonna
and
be. So
insanity.
if you already use Kara very early in the game, she gonna help you a lot in clearing PvE content. All those enemies
There's a
aside from
fine line
bosses, because
between
bosses are
genius
immune to
and
poison,
insanity.
they are really easy to be killed by Kara. And in this episode, I'm gonna talk to you about the difference between Kara,
There's a
Ife,
fine
and Hilda,
line
because they
between
all have
genius
different
and
purposes.
insanity.
And for poison espers, I always mention this in my previous video, but I'm gonna mention it here again. You do not
There's
want
a
to
fine
compare
line
poison
between
espers
genius and
because poison
insanity.
debuff can stack. So if you want to bring poison espers, having as many of them as you can will give a better
There's a fine
result.
line
So
between
that's why they
genius
are
and
meant to work
insanity.
together instead of compete with each other. And like I said, they have all different purposes, so you can understand in this video on when
There's a
and where
fine
to bring
line
each one of
between
them. So
genius
let's go
and
with Kara's first
insanity.
skill. First, attacks one enemy damage 120% attack, normal attack damage, it's a benchmark 120% attack, and 80% chance of inflicting disease for 2 turns.
There's a
80%
fine
chance, a
line
little bit
between
higher than
genius and
75%, which is the
insanity.
benchmark for 50-50 chance of inflicting debuff. And disease is gonna be really good if you are fighting against enemies that keep on healing. And nowadays there are a lot of
There's
enemies
a
that can
fine
do that.
line between
So,
genius
if you
and
do want to use her in APAP, her element gonna be a problem because APAP is a wind enemy, and while Kara is a flow esper, so she gonna suffer a lot with a miss rate. But you can use Kara in Sonic Miracle, because in Sonic Miracle the one that is healing is the flow runner in here. So you definitely gonna need to use Disease Esper, and Kara is just perfect for that job. Now, going into the first skill, she doesn't inflict any poison on the first skill. So, her poison comes from her second skill, the passive. When attacking using any skill, she will inflict poison on the target for 2 turns, and upon successful
there's a
inflicting
fine
poison,
line
inflicts
between
another
genius
poison for
and
1 turn and
insanity.
triggers 1 time on each target per turn. So, if you attack using her first skill, it gonna give disease and then a stack of poison that lasts for
There's a
2 turns,
fine
and if you
line between
successfully inflict this
genius
poison,
and
it will give
insanity.
another poison that lasts for 1 turn. So her first skill gonna give 2 stacks of poison to her target already, so that is good. And then going into
There's a
her
fine line
her third
between
skill attacks all
genius and
enemies damage
insanity.
130% attack. So this is huge. Like usually an AoE damage deals 100% attack, so this is 130% attack. So you're gonna definitely
There's a
feel
fine
some
line
damage coming
between
from
genius
her
and insanity.
direct attack damage, direct skill damage. But the thing is that she has a very low base attack. So if you already have reached the end game and you have a proper
There's a
equipment
fine
and
line
a
between
proper
genius and
AoE DPS
insanity.
Esper, she gonna lose in terms of AoE damage, obviously. But very early in the game and mid game, you gonna feel some damage coming from her third skill because
There's
of
a
this
fine
percentage
line between
bonus
genius
here.
and
Now,
insanity.
the third skill also inflicts speed down and poison for 2 turns, and because this is an attack skill, it also inflicts another poison that lasts for 2 turns and
There's
another
a
poison
fine
that lasts
line
for 1 turn.
between
So
genius
because
and
this thing hits all
insanity.
enemies, all of those enemies will get these poisons. So every single enemy will get speed down, and 2 stacks of poison that last for 2 turns, and 1 stack of poison that lasts for 1 turn. So in a single move, she is able to give 3 stacks of poison and 1 speed down. And that is really good, you know. And if you have her at Resonance 6, it can also reduce enemies AP by 15%. So this is a good combination, speed down and AP down. So you can control your enemy using this. Although it is not an incapacitating debuff, but it is still something to look forward to. Like, it does help you in controlling your enemy. So pairing Kara with, you know, Esper like Pritzker, Eira, Celine, like, it's gonna be really good. Although for Celine's case, the sleep gonna be removed when the enemy receive damage from poison. But in a controller team, if you do want to kill your enemies, instead of just using all controller team like full on Eira, Celine, Pritzker, and Longyan, you're gonna kill your enemy very slow, and it's gonna take a long time until you kill them. So use poison together with a controller Esper. Because for a poison Esper, your damage depends on the enemy's maximum HP. So every single stack of poison will deal 4% maximum HP to your enemies. And because this is maximum HP, it doesn't care about how much HP you currently have. If you manage to put 12 stacks of poison debuff on your enemies, it's gonna deal 48% of the enemy's maximum HP. And do it 2 times for 2 turns, you're gonna kill any enemy because this will deal 100% of their maximum HP. And that is how strong poison is. Like, no matter how strong your enemy is, no matter how weak your enemy is, these things gonna cut 100% of their maximum HP if you are able to put as many poison as you can to your enemies. So first, we're gonna see, like, the first turn, even at the very first turn, you manage to put 3 stacks of poisons. So that already by itself deal 12% of the enemy's maximum HP. And that's why I said that if for poison Esper, you do want to let them work with each other. So if you have another Esper like Hilda and Ife, you can within the first turn, both of them use their third skill, and you will be able to give 6 stacks of poisons, which will deal 24% of the enemy's maximum HP. And you know, just 4 turns of that poison dealing damage, you can already kill any enemy. And that is a good thing. And percentage HP damage, why I always love percentage HP damage is that the stronger your enemy is, the more damage you're gonna deal to them. Like, you know, when you are going into PvE, the enemy will not have the same amount of HP as your Esper. They will definitely gonna give them even more HP and even higher level than you, so just to give you more challenge. But because this thing deals maximum HP damage, it just gonna feel that they are all the same, because they all gonna receive the same amount of damage, because it is a percentage HP damage. So that's why poison is my favorite thing in this game. Like, there are no other game that deals percentage maximum HP damage as damage over time. Like, that is insanely overpowered. Now, like I must say it, like, the difference between Kara and Ife and Hilda, like, you do want to bring them all together, is that Kara inflicts speed down and AP reduction, while Ife, I'm gonna show Ife first, Ife inflicts attack down and also speed down and also stun in here. So in terms of usability, like the speed down, Ife can replace Kara, but again, you do want to use them together because they gonna stack poison much faster in that case. So in terms of survivability, because Eve gives a takedown to her enemy, so Eve gotta be able to survive much longer compared to Kara. This will be really good if you want to play as a defensive team, like a tanky team. So giving the enemy a takedown will make sure that Eve and her teammate will be harder to kill, and so Kara is not really suitable for a PvP esper, mainly because she only gives speed down, poison, and AP reduction. There is no control in here, she gonna suffer on survivability. But if you bring Eve is more suitable in PvP compared to Kara because of her attack down, and that's the use of Eve. And Eve's poison also lasts for 3 turns, while Kara lasts for 2 turns and 1 turn. So Eve for poison lasts for a lot longer, and this stun is going to be extremely useful in giving even more survivability to Eve, because this gonna prevent the enemy from moving for 1 turn. So that's Eve. Now going into Hilda, Hilda is even more OP because Hilda gives defense down and sleep. Defense down, speed down, and sleep there. So that's why Hilda has even more control towards her enemies. And while aside from giving defense down and sleep and speed down there, she also have deep sleep that makes enemies sleep at the beginning of their turn, preventing them from moving for 2 turns while Hilda have her deep sleep. So that's why Hilda is even stronger than Eve in terms of survivability. And on top of that, she is able to increase your damage, the damage that you deal to the entire enemy team because of the defense down instead of attack down coming from Eve. So if you expect the enemy to attack you, then Eve is much better. But if you expect if you want to deal more damage to your enemies, then Hilda is the perfect choice because of the defense down. So the 3 of them have different debuffs and different purposes, but all of them can inflict speed down, which is why it's kind of like once you have all 3 of them, Kara seems like the least favorable among 3 of them. But the thing is that she has the lowest cooldown on her third skill. So in terms of long battle and rotation skill, Kara can actually gives much more poison compared to Hilda and Eve because of a faster rotation. And on top of that, if you give her like ocean waves, you're gonna be able to make Kara put even more poison. And also for Hilda's case, like Hilda's poison comes from the third skill and also the second skill. So once she has them on cooldown, she won't be able to inflict poison again because her first skill only gives sleep. And while Eve is still able to give poison to the enemy on the first skill, together with Kara. So if you think that you're gonna, fight a long battle, and also you're gonna use your first skill, like you're not gonna use ocean equipment, and also you don't bring esper that can reduce allies cooldown, then if you want to inflict as many poison as possible, then Eve and Kara actually gonna do a better job than Hilda. But if you do want to control your enemy, like to survive as long as possible, then Hilda and Eve gonna help you survive much longer. So in Darkstar lore, when you require to stack as many poison as you can to a single target, using your normal attack damage that can give poison will stack more poison compared to using your third and second skill. And that's why in Darkstar lore, it is not recommended to use Hilda because Hilda's first skill doesn't give poison. So you need to wait for 4 turns until you are able to give poison stacks again, and the second skill only give 2 poison stacks, with a cooldown of 3 turns. So Hilda is not that good in stacking poison to Dark Star Lord, and you do want to use either Eve or Kara. But the thing is that for Eve also required to rotate between third skill, second skill, and then she will finally use the first skill. And while rotating on the second skill, she doesn't put any poison debuffs on her target. So if you require Esper that can give poison debuff every single turn, it's gonna be Kara and Hall. Hall is obviously like he has a totally different playstyle compared to all those poison Esper. I don't really consider Hall as a poison Esper. Like the way he works is kind of like different. Like if you fight multiple enemies, like Hall is not really that good. Like you can give 1 poison stack to one enemy, but you will probably never ever reach 12 stacks of poison debuff on your enemy if you are using Hall on all 5 enemies. But because the boss in Dark Star Lord is only one, hence why Hall is a must there, and he is paired together with Kara because Kara's second skill is a passive. So in the first turn, she gonna cast her third skill first, give poison debuff on her target, like 3 stacks of them, and then she gonna keep on using her first skill and keep on giving 2 stacks of poison every single turn to her target, and hence why she is the best choice in Dark Star Lord among all those 3, Kara, Eve, and Hilda. So that's why all those 3 Espers have different purpose, and that's why all 3 of them are still very useful even at the end game. And because of the cooldown of 3 turns for Kara, she can also have another option, like she can use the Harmony set, which gonna increase your allies damage for 2 turns after the wearer cast ability 3. So she can also do that to increase the allies ability damage, and also this gonna affect your poison damage, So that's why Seer, like debuffs like Seer, debuffs like that increase enemies damage taken, debuff that increase enemies final damage taken, they all gonna affect your poison damage, and hence why in Hilda's recommended set in here, where is it? Hilda's recommended set, it recommends you to use Calamity. Because Calamity final damage against targets with a debuff plus 20%, this includes poison damage. So percentage HP damage will get increased by this one because this is the final damage, for each additional debuff on the target damage plus 30% with a maximum additional increase of 15%. So that's why Poison Esper, oh my god, why I cannot scroll?
You're listening to Dislyte X Hertz Radio.
Come on, scroll. Oh my god, it's stuck. It's stuck. Why is it stuck? Okay, I can scroll it. Okay, so yeah, so that is Kara. And Kara also have a captain ability which increase your accuracy by 40% in PvE content. That is insanely good because Hilda increased defense and Eve, I don't think Eve have captain. Oh, Eve have. Eve also increased accuracy by 40%. Like if you are still very early in the game or still mid game, you probably won't have that much equipment, especially the one that have accuracy. So you can use Kara and Eve as your captain to increase your accuracy by 40%, giving you more chance to use any other equipment that you currently have while still maintaining 80% accuracy that you need for a hard cap. So growth. advancement, I do recommend you to just stop at level 50 first, because for poison esper they don't require any stats. Their poison damage gonna deal fixed amount of damage. It's gonna always deal 4% of the enemy's maximum HP, whether you use a strong Kara or you use a weak Kara. So at level 50, she already performed at her best performance. So going into resonance here, she also have a really good resonance. The second resonance when the target is not buffed, miss rate minus 25%. This is why Kara have a very good chance of inflicting poison to her target because of this skill. Like for Eve, also for Eve and Hilda, Hilda is a flow esper, while Eve is the only one with a different element. So that's why a lot of players are underestimating Eve, while Eve is actually really good at killing wind enemies. And also, a very long time ago, I made a video of killing Kronos using Kara and Eve when Eve first came out. And at that point in time, when the developers still haven't changed the Kronos and Apex, like nowadays, Kronos and Apex have really high resist against poison, and also for poison damage, they limit the damage they can take from poison to only 20,000 damage, I think. Wait, let me see. Should be in here. This is the skill. Wait. I need to. There we go. Damage taken per poison stack does not exceed 20,000. Like they know, poison are gonna kill bosses really fast, because bosses have million HP. So if you use poison, it deals percentage HP damage and there is no limit in the skill itself. So that's why they need to limit the damage from the boss himself. So that's why they already consider that thing, because even after they increase the boss's resist, I used Eve, Kara, and Hilda in killing those ritual bosses. Like it has a very high resist, but sometimes I do get lucky and manage to put like 12 stacks of poisons on them, and they just gonna die within 2 turns. how insanely good was that? So yeah, Eve is the only Inferno poison esper, like the one with a different element. So if you do want to kill like wind enemies, obviously Eve gonna be your best choice. But Kara, because of her resonance, she can also at least get less penalty when hitting wind enemies. So Hilda is gonna be the one with the most trouble when dealing with enemies from different elements. Then going into the fourth resonance too, when attacking 18% chance of ignoring resist. Again, this is why Kara's poison seems like it is always much better compared to any other poison esper. She is very easy to inflict poison debuffs on her targets. And then the last one, we've already seen this. It's the one that gives AP reduction on her third skill. So yeah, that is Kara's strength. Now into the Ascension also, because she doesn't require any stats, she just needs to survive as long as possible, so she can give as many poison stacks debuff as much as possible. So HP, defense, and this one is actually not needed, but because of her ability percentage damage in here, this kind of like alright, you know, like you can feel the damage coming from Kara, but it is actually not necessary. And then there's another extra accuracy in here and HP on the last one. So this one is really good, like accuracy plus 15%. So using the captain ability too, you can already have 55% of accuracy for Kara. So you can only just, you know, need 25% more from your equipment. Hence why she is really good for like early to mid game players when you are still progressing through the PvE content and story. Like I guarantee you that if you use your Kara, it's gonna be really easy to kill enemies far higher level than you, as long as you can survive. So that's why I use controller, use Berenice, like support expert that can heal you or keep you alive. Oh yeah, one more thing. Like even though Kara is really good with all these controller expert, you do not want to spam too much on Eira or Longyan's second skill, because if you reduce the enemy's AP, then the enemy will rarely ever move. And Kara's poison damage, not only Kara, like poison damage only deal damage when the enemy move. So if you are already at the point where you can keep the enemy from moving at all, then they will never ever get the poison damage at all. So you gotta have to see on the situation. Like sometimes you do want to let your enemy to move after you manage to put like 12 stacks of poison debuff, because you cannot stack any more than that. Now, going to the rival rune, like if you do want to use Kara in PvP, obviously it is not recommended, because like I said, like it is much stronger to bring Ife to PvP compared to Kara, and especially it's much stronger for Hilda compared to Ife. But the rival rune, they use this to give you a recommendation on which equipment is going to be good for Kara. So Winsett and then Avatara. The reason is because she only needs speed in order to give more poison. Like the poison, the third skill already have 3 turns cooldown, so giving more chance to throw this to your enemies will give the most poison stack debuff to all of your enemies. So giving speed, you can also have Ocean Wave for Kara. And the Avatara is because Kara's first skill also give poison debuff because of her passive. So hitting the enemy using Avatara will also help you stack more poison to your target. So that's why Avatara gonna be really good for Kara. But you can always use any other Mui equipment. It doesn't really matter. Like Kara is a very easy and versatile expert to build. Now going into her Divinate, the Divinate is also not really necessary, because when the barrel's HP percentage is not above the target, Scorpion close final damage plus 9% in here. But because this is only, like I only have tier 1 on her Divinate copy, so you can still increase this. But the requirement itself is already weird. Like you need to be at lower HP percentage than your target, then your first skill damage will get increased. But you are not a damage dealer, and your first skill damage deals normal attack damage. So if it's the third skill, then it might be alright, like it's kind of good. But this one is become like, kind of like useless. So you don't really want to aim for Kara's Divinate, and just give her a Bilimon is enough to maximize her potential. So I do want to just probably show you my ritual vehicle. Like this is gonna be the place where you're gonna use your Kara the most. Like look at this, this is what I use. Like I said, if you have Poison Esper, obviously bringing as many poison as you can to your lineup will guarantee that you have the most poison debuff as possible to your enemies. So look at that.
I win.
Look at that. How many poison debuffs you can give to your enemies with 3 of them. So it will guarantee the moment they move, they definitely gonna be dead, all of them. And Sujue is really good in here, because Poison Esper gonna deal the same amount of damage from their poison. So usually you're gonna build them into more survivability. So HP bonus, speed, defense bonus, and accuracy and resist are all good stats for them. You just gotta give them as much speed as possible and as much survivability as possible while still maintaining 80% accuracy. And that's it, that's enough. So because they focus more on survivability, so their direct damage is very low. So pairing them with Sujue, also because this stage requires you to deal a true damage, you know, it's just perfect. You know, their low damage now is paired together with a true damage, and on top of that, they also the enemy also have a very high defense. With the true damage is gonna deal them very fast, kill them very fast. Look at that, 342,000 damage from the poison. You can already probably see, like, Kara is really fast into rotating into her third skill. And that's it, that's Kara. So hope you guys enjoy this video, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye bye.